I'm still in the phase of making an indie game where I'm just barely starting to design the characters. But I'm also the type of person who still has no title for the story they finished writing years ago. So I think we should start thinking now. So let me tell you about the story so you can help me come up with something. Obviously, spoilers ahead. The story takes place in a world created by 22 gods, but these gods are not all powerful. They were born with only so much magic that was just enough to create a world for themselves to live in. And that they did, but for some of them the world they had made was not enough. Some wanted to take the worlds of other gods, and such a fight broke loose in their pantheon. Some of the gods barely survived, while others lost themselves or died completely. In the end, those who wanted to conquer won, and those who still wanted to survive had no other choice but to oblige. The story of the game itself revolves around both Moon and her loyal knight that she created. Moon is the god who only follows the fool in order to survive, is not respected as one of the creators. She is looked down upon, called doll instead of her name, and made to follow the orders. But she wants to be respected. She is one of the gods who created this world after all. But is her status as a god really worth sacrificing their own people and conquering hundreds of other worlds? The knight, on the other hand, is a doll created by Moon specifically to serve the purpose of being a knight at the Heavenly Palace. And he has been serving them loyally for hundreds and hundreds of years. He doesn't even have a name, just a number, but he's been doing exactly what he has been created for. And he's very skilled at it. But is what he was created for, his duties as a knight, really the purpose of his life? Or does his purpose lie beyond the walls of the Heavenly Palace? In the game, you play both the stories of the knight and Moon parallel to each other, and for each of them you have to make a choice. For Moon, if she finally wants to earn the respect as a god, or if she's willing to give up that status and do what she thinks is right. And for the knight, it's if his duty or his calling is truly the purpose of his life. And depending on the combination of choices you make, there are 4 different endings. 1 in which both fully join the Fool, 2 in which they become mortal enemies, and 1 in which they both leave and take responsibility for their past actions. As you can see, the story is all about personal life choices, not just with the 2 protagonists, but also with all the other characters, which I just haven't mentioned in this video. I've been thinking for weeks on what to name the story, but literally the only things I can come up with are titles of anime that I haven't even watched. So if you have any ideas, let me know.
Forget yourself, surrender your mind. Right now you're mine, oh mine.
Drawing silly little OCs is all fun and games until you have to sit down and actually design characters. Like, this first one is great. The concept is basically decaying gods, and like this purple part here, like that's what's actually left of her. The whole rest of the body is basically a full body prosthetic. She made them, she designed them, she has 4 arms, she's the crafty one, and she made it specifically to be appealing. Like, that's part of the story. Like, this design portrays exactly that. But then this one I made right after, like, it does everything it should do. It's a play on the Lover's Tarot card, but like, look at the difference in quality. I mean, it looks like 2 different people made this. And then the knight, he looks much better, looks like the same universe again, but like, this one doesn't really portray what it should. Like, the knight is one of the dolls made by her and also to be pretty, and like, yes, he is very pretty, but the hand is the only part where you can see he's one of the dolls, and it's not really giving knight, and I don't know, it just doesn't fit. And then this guy looks really good. Like, he has all those stolen cores from like gods he defeated, and he uses them, but it's also like kind of destroying him. So the only part that's really left of him is like the head and torso, and the rest is again prosthetics. But like, it's not giving end boss, you know? Like, this is how you'd meet him, but this is how he actually looks, and it's just not enough. I don't know. And I really don't know what else to do. And then this one. I spent like 4 hours yesterday designing this guy. And like, this design looks great. It's the death card from the Major Arcana, right? But then when I had just finished drawing him, I got like this weird sense of familiarity about the design, and like, I know they don't look like exactly alike, and I even posted about this on Tumblr, and everyone was telling me like it's fine, but like, I accidentally managed to copy like every single core concept. Like, there's the half cut of head with like colorful stuff coming out of the top, I guess, if you can call it that, I don't know. And then like the skeleton motif with like the ribs coming out in the back here, and like the long black dress, and most importantly these arms. Like, it doesn't really come across that similar in like this image, but if you've seen the movie, like how she, like, those arms drag behind her through the earth, like it's all pain and suffering. And the worst part, I have so far 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? 5. Is 24 in total. I need 24 of these. Help. It was that easy. I was struggling so much, but it was that easy. The design instantly got 10 times better. So I've been working on these character designs for a visual novel, right? And I've been really struggling with not just the designs, but the story too. I mean, if you look at this alone, this is the overview, right, for the character dynamics. I'm pretty sure I accidentally made a rune and cursed myself. And I was on the verge of giving up because of how much I've been struggling. But then I showed the main antagonist and got several smash comments, so I guess I have to make the game now, right? Like, I'm obligated to. So I haven't posted in a week about these guys because I've been working on story and lore instead of designing characters, but there's this thing I keep thinking about, which is that this guy's current design is actually kind of an issue from a visual storytelling perspective. And of all things, the issue is actually his current skin tone. So I need some input from preferably BIPOC people because, well, no amount of research is gonna fix that. And before anyone comments about me overthinking this way too much, I know I'm just not trying to accidentally do something insensitive, you know? Okay, so these characters as the creator gods of their universe don't actually have ethnicities. Death is just as black as these guys are white, which is not at all, but obviously they don't read like that from a human perspective. And I can tell the people as much as I want, but they're still gonna read into it when trying to analyze the designs. To get to the actual issue, these guys from a storytelling perspective need to be as similar as possible, basically. Partially because, except for the knight, these guys are all technically siblings, but mostly because the whole story revolves around the personal choices that make people who they are, and who they have become through their choices is visualized through their designs. That's the most recent lore. When I designed the death character, he just got dark skin because I thought it'd be pretty, you know? Well, and the other obvious issue is that amongst the current cast, he just looks like the token black guy, you know? And on top of that, to have the only really dark skin character be the one who's the most visibly decayed, no. Also, he's not evil, he's the god of death, but he is not evil, just to make that clear. He's one of the most normal people in this entire cast, especially compared to this guy. The easiest solution to this whole thing is to just give him the wall paint treatment, but obviously I don't want to do that. The best solution, I think, is if I do it kind of with the hair and do a 50-50 split amongst the in total 22 characters and give out the melanin as balanced as possible. Which may or may not actually be quite difficult because a lot of them don't have humanoid forms and 10 of the 22 are already dead. But again, given this context, this is not a decision I want to make without outside input, so I'd really appreciate your opinions, any thoughts you had about this, whatever, just give me advice. Hi, hello, I'm still alive. If you don't know me or don't remember me, I'm just a random guy with zero PC knowledge who's trying to make a visual novel with their OC. This is one of the main characters for reference. And just to be clear, no AI, I made this with my hands. Anyway, the reason I haven't posted anything in so long is because I've been busy with the planning stage. And I mean, how on earth am I supposed to make content about this? But now, it's all starting to come together. Don't get me wrong, the actual visual novel is still gonna take forever to come out, but what I'm working on right now is the first concept demo. Because I have not even 1 month left before I have to present this at an actual official event about like video games and my original plan before I started this was to finish the writing phase, but as you can see there's not that much on here, but I'm just running out of time, so I'm just gonna show you what I have. Hold on, this looks really blue. I think that's the light. Wait. Yeah, it was the light. Anyway, I don't have much yet because I've been experimenting with Visual Novel Maker and I was ready to punch the screen. but this is what I have so far. So this is the title screen. That's what happens when you open the game first. And funny thing, the cursor was like the easiest thing about all of this. Anyway, you click and it takes you to the first menu. And look. No! Why? It was working! Look, here, I have this thing called hover. It's supposed to hover like this. These stars are supposed to appear when you hover over the... Why? It was just... I didn't change anything. Anyway, I have until the 14th of next month to finish this. Wish me... Remember the series where you guys were helping me design the characters for my visual novel? Yeah, we gotta continue that. So this concept demo has to be ready by the 14th of next month. And in that will be appearing the main characters Moon and Night, as well as the wheel and the yet-to-be-designed magician. Except that besides just designing the magician, I want to redo this one too. The design we originally came up with is perfect for the wheel personality-wise. It's like, you don't need a description, you know exactly what kind of character she has. But the issue is it's just not giving creator god, you know? I was happy with this design originally because just how well it fits her character, but if your goal is something more monster-like, akin to the Star Rail Aeons, it's underwhelming, you know? Worst case scenario is I'll still be using this version of her for the demo, but eventually this one gotta go, so bye-bye, only the OGs will have known you. But the magician's design is what we gotta focus on for now, because this is how much I've got, okay? Like this. And the thing is, I've been thinking about the magician for months, but I still have nothing, not even idea-wise. I don't know if it's gonna be a guy, a girl, something in between, neither. I don't know. All I know is they're gonna be really evil and be based off their tarot card. Well, that's all I have. Oh my god, I can explain. Anyway, I'd appreciate any sort of comments, suggestions, critiques, whatever, just give it to me so I have something to work with. And if you want to share sketches or ideas or just artwork in general, not even about this guys, just your personal art, if you want to share that, I have a Discord server where you can do just that. And I'm not gonna tell you where to click to find it, you know where you have to go, because if I say it, the video will not get shown to a lot of people, experience-wise. Because the clock app does not like people leaving. You say Fox features, but how about... But on a serious note, your comment actually reminded me of a very important design aspect I wanted to include since the very beginning. Can you guess what it is? Also, by the way, while you're thinking, excuse that I may be slurring my speech a bit, I can't feel half my face because I just came back from the dentist, but this is more important than recovery. Okay, so have you guessed it yet? Insects! I've wanted to make them insect-like since the very beginning. How did I forget about this? Because having an insect theme in the story has actually been one of the very first ideas that even started this whole thing. But I somehow completely forgot about it after designing these two. Moon as a butterfly, moth pretending to be a butterfly, and the knights as like really generic flies. You can't maybe tell it right now with the cape, but those are going to be like more fly wing type thingies. Anyway, well, this is kind of a joke. I'm also kind of serious because the fox, yes, fits the magician very well character-wise, but so does a cockroach. I'm not quite sure how to incorporate it yet because that's quite of a big jump, but the first thing I want to focus on is a different body type because I've actually wanted to do a couple different body types in this game. But as you can see so far, all the characters have been stick bugs, so there's that. Sometimes I question the sanity of my past self. So I have these character designs, right? Everyone has seen them 1,000 times already. And I used them as temporary sprites to put in the game. So I made facial expressions for Moon, all completely normal, right? And then it's the knight's turn. So I go into his file thinking, oh yeah, the color layer is just turned off right now. But there is no color, right? Just different versions of line art. And then I'm confused because clearly he's got color here, so where the hell did that file go? Until I zoom in closer to his face and see the lines are pixelated, the color is not. See, no matter how close I get, it's still nice and crisp, and that's because for some reason past me several months ago decided to paint his colors in this app on one layer. Meaning I knew I would need his file with color one day eventually, and I also knew that it's a fucking pain in the ass to paint in here, yet I still decided to do it, and now I had to spend 2 hours of my life repainting the exact same thing in the original file. I mean, he's got prettier wings in this version, but still, past me, what the hell? Guys, we finally have some progress on the magician. To recap, this character is a god vaguely based on the magician tarot card, and their designated insect is a cockroach. They're this very sly type of character who believes their nose belongs absolutely everywhere. The cockroach is of course very on the nose. They're still supposed to look nice on first glance, so I went for a round shape language for the body type. The hair was such a pain though. I wanted to mimic this head shape at first, but that always had very unfortunate looking outcomes, so I've scratched that. And so I thought, since the gods have all kinds of different skin colors anyway, why not make these antennas into braids? Another design element I included are these little hair thingies, I don't know, as these spikes. I don't know though if I want to put them directly on their skin, which would be metal as hell admittedly, or on their clothes, which brings me to I have no idea what to dress them in. The only thing I have so far is this cape thingy for, well, the wings, since that's a common design element, but besides that, I don't know what to do. The only idea I have so far is to give them like above the knee shorts, so it looks still somewhat gender neutral, but also to show the whole thing should you zoom out. So yeah, this is the vibe we're going for in terms of clothes and colors and other stuff like that. If you have any ideas, let me know. Someone explained to me why ADHD hyperfocus only ever kicks in at the worst time possible. So I'm making a visual novel, right? And I need to present a concept demo this Monday, on the 14th. And I already have these two backgrounds, but I'm missing a third, and I don't have time to make a proper third one like these two. I need to stick to a sketch. Does this look like a sketch to you? The plan was to make a quick sketch while I'm eating my breakfast and then go to my studio and finish the concept demo. It's now 7:30 p.m. and I just realized I'm still at home and the background is done. Like, I'm so screwed. I have to fix the sprites of these two. This guy I can't even call a proper sprite yet. And this is the state of the animatic that's supposed to play at the very beginning. It's just the moon, there's nothing more, just... Is the concept demo out or not? I need to know before I get rabies. Oh boy, you better get vaccinated right now. So for about half a year now, I've been posting about how I'm trying to make a visual novel. And specifically the past few weeks, I've been working on a concept demo. Well, at least that's what I've been calling it. And I'm realizing I probably let you guys on a bit with that. I think quite a few people have been expecting a demo like you would see with a, well, studio-produced video game where I get to test how it's going to be shortly before it's about to be finished. And I'm very sorry to disappoint, but that's not actually what I meant. What you guys have to keep in mind is I'm not a studio who's actually producing video games. I'm just some guy who got their hands on Visual Novel Maker and is now trying to do something with it. Meaning I have basically no idea what I'm doing. But despite of the size of my city, I'm very lucky to have a very active community of small indie developers here. And the concept demo I've been working on was specifically for an event meant for developers under 25, where you can just present your ideas and get feedback from people in the industry who actually know what they're doing. So what I've been working on is not like one of those video game demos from proper developers you're used to. It's just a proof of concept demonstration of concept. That's right. It's just a very, very rough draft of what the finished product is supposed to be, so I was able to get feedback from people who know their stuff. You have to keep in mind that with proper game developers, they usually only share their stuff once the game is basically almost finished. But what I'm doing here is marketing. I'm sharing my process from the very beginning, meaning the concept demo doesn't really include anything that you guys haven't seen yet. So I'm very, very sorry that my choice of words got people's hope up, but there won't be a playable demo for you guys to test out anytime soon.
This is all I got. This is all I got.
Is it just me, or do we all never learn from drawing parts we have to cover up eventually and then being mad when we have to erase them? I can put it up here maybe. The angle is technically impossible for a ball-jointed doll, but I'm not sure if I even care about that anymore.
Okay, so I've actually gotten several comments like this already, and let's talk about it. Because besides just being better or worse, different art programs also fit different needs. The one I usually use is Ibis Paint. And it's also the one where I made this design in. And as you can see, it has all of these different tools and more up here, and then all of these filters too. Ibis Paint is precise and basically gives you complete and full control. And that is reflected in the end product. But if you're just trying to sketch, and especially if you're a beginner artist, it's easy to hyper-focus on the details and be overly precise or even rely too much on the basis the app provides. So what I like to do is basically a digital version of sketching with ink and limiting what tools I have. So if I want something more loose, I go to Procreate. It's a lot more limited than Ibis in terms of functions, but as you can see, you can make great artwork here. But Procreate 2 still has a bunch of tools and layers and stuff, so I like to limit myself even more. And that's where I use Concept. And this is where I have this giant canvas, but can still zoom in extremely far and have everything be crisp and unpixelated. And the biggest difference between this one and the others is that one, you have extremely limited layers, at least in the free version, and a lot less tools. And second, that it's vector based. If you look at the PNG that I imported, this one gets pixelated if I zoom in too far. But with the stuff that I've drawn in the app, I can zoom in all the way and no pixels whatsoever. If you have good notes, you know this already, it's the same concept. Look how far I can zoom in and not a single pixel in sight. So to recap, Ibis Paint for stuff where I need precision, Procreate for a more natural drawing experience, and limited vector-based apps like Concept or GoodNotes for stuff like this where you're just sketching and just need a lot of space without really thinking about the quality.